Bengals versus Giants.
So my best bet last week was the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I released it on during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday. I released it to clients at +3.5, so it was a winner. But on the show, I got a little cocky. I said you could take the Bengals outright. I said they would win it on the field. Of course, they didn't. They blew 3 10-point leads in that game. I was 100% on the right side, and sometimes on the wrong side of the right bet. Right? McPherson is clutch, never misses a field goal. Holder muffs the snap, and kick is shanked. Should I double down on Cincinnati this week, Sharky?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I really think you're finding just the absolute bottom out point for this team. 1-4 straight up. But I think you're seeing an ATS polarization here, which really makes you want to continue to buy this team on the road. You said it, there was a 3.5 and then there was a 2.5. If we're calling it 2.5, they didn't cover, which would make them 0-3 ATS at home. 3 outright losses, more importantly. 2-0 ATS on the road. Far more impressive. Almost beat Kansas City in week 2. Took care of business against Carolina in week 4 on a similar number. And I think that's very important. They do function very well on the road at the NFC in the Joe Burrow era, going 6-1 ATS last 7. And truly, this is a desperation game. Burrow's in the press conference. He's probably going to get another haircut this week, trying to refresh the energy. But he senses desperation for the first time all year. And I was watching NFL Network. My guy Kyle Brandt said, "We'll see you guys in training camp." Shots fired, because I think this team can come back. They have a lot of games coming up. They still have 5 more divisional games. They have a longer schedule now, obviously, with 17 regular season games. I think this is a great spot to fade the Giants, who actually are the polar opposite to what we just described with Cincinnati. The Giants are 2-1 straight up on the road, 0-2 straight up, and ATS at home, coming off of really a huge effort in Seattle, a huge high. And New York and the Giants are 0-4 ATS last 4 as a home underdog with Daniel Jones as the quarterback. This is psychology. This is must win. This is game 7 Burrow if it existed in this sport. And this is a great spot to fade the Giants here. Buy the Bengals at -3.5 on Sunday Night Football.
I like it. I love it. I'm definitely fucking betting it. I will have some sort of Bengals action for sure. I'm probably just going to buy it down to a 2.5, get myself underneath the field goal. Listen, guys, that half a point is ginormous. Now, if this starts ticking up to 4, 4 is also a football number, but if you could do whatever you have to do, whatever little bit of work, I don't mind paying 140 to get a team at 2.5 instead of laying the 3.5. That's how much that point means to me. If you have the Bengals, and I can absolutely see them up 10 late in the game, and then the Giants just come down with a late backdoor touchdown. So I would suggest try and get this underneath the field goal, or at least get it down to 3. There's no harm in getting that half a point on a push, right?
I agree. And I would make a comment for people that are watching the show over the weekend. We're recording this a little earlier. I'm actually seeing significant steam coming on the Giants. I think you might actually get -3 on Friday or Saturday. So I think you might not even have to buy any juice to take it down to 3. And again, I think that's recency bias in the market. Like, people are not having these conversations like myself and JA here. They're just thinking, well, what Kyle Brandt said is right on NFL Network. We'll see you in training camp. Long season. Buy this one 100% at the low point.
Now, a lot of guys in this business try to be contrarian just to be contrarian because they believe it looks good if they take an unpopular dog and that dog happens to cover or win outright. So they're being contrarian just to be contrarian. They'll sit here and they'll pick these ugly teams every week, all week long. But of course, they don't recap their numbers from the shows. They don't recap to show you exactly what they've done with those ugly dogs. I know that there's some shows out there who have literally picked the Carolina Panthers every fucking week this season. At what point do you understand Panthers just suck? They're not covering spreads. And even if they cover at the end of the season, what are they going to cover? 30, 40% of the games they've played at best? It's just a losing proposition to make yourself look smart. And all you're doing is a disservice to those who are listening and following.
Without question, without question. And I think, as you said, there's really a notorious side to these, quote, contrarian sharp bettors. I mean, I remember going back to the Detroit season where they didn't win a game, the Cleveland season where they didn't win a game. Sharp Report every week had those teams on record. So it's like, guys, you have to be able to balance your bets in the market. Sometimes it's a buy low. Sometimes the same team is a sell the very next week. And as Jay said, there's so much zigzag in professional football, and there's so much parity in the league right now. These teams, more than anything, are going to win one, lose one, back and forth this year. Not a lot of dominance on one side or the other.
And you're getting the Bengals here off of a loss on a down season. And then you have the Giants coming home now off of what's been two competitive games. But you look at what they played. They played a beat-up Dallas Cowboy team who had a flag on pretty much every third down, couldn't get the Giants off the field. And then Seattle last week, it's still Geno Smith. At the end of the fucking day, I don't want to hear anything about the Seattle Seahawks team. It's still Geno fucking Smith. At the end of the day, that's who their quarterback is. And so they're not going to be some world beater. They're going to be a decent competitive team because they have a great defense and a strong running game and a freak of fucking nature on the wideout in Metcalf. But at the end of the day, it's still Geno fucking Smith. All right. That is Sunday Night Football. Shark and I are both in lockstep. We both agree on the Cincinnati Bengals. Shark, love having you on the show. We'll see you back here next week.